It's Avatar. Spoilers, my favorite movie is Avatar. The first one, not the second one. Unless you've been living under a rock, you know the movie I'm talking about, James Cameron's 2009 movie, the really long one, 2 hours and 42 minutes I think, about the blue aliens. And I know it's a science fiction movie, but it's also a fantasy movie. It fits the same kind of category as Star Wars, where there's both science fiction elements and kind of a magical fantasy element to it as well. It's my favorite movie at rock bottom. What I would say as a summary is that it's an interesting primer on rewilding. People who aren't familiar with the concept can watch Avatar with you, and the movie kind of explains it. One of the things that makes Avatar my favorite movie is that it highlights the beauty of the natural world. James Cameron came up with this beautiful forest and all of these things, but you know what he's said about that forest? That it was inspired by real experiences he has had in nature. A lot of the scenery you see in there comes from his scuba dives. So this kind of beauty is not fictional, it's real. And I would argue that our world is more beautiful than Pandora. And I think one of the lessons that we see in the movie Avatar, and there are many great kind of allegorical, metaphorical kind of lessons, peppered throughout the film. Maybe I'll make a more expanded video on that. That's kind of an interesting idea. But one of the lessons that we see is that the main character, Jake, goes out into the forest for the first time, and in the dark he lights a fire. But then one of the natives puts out the fire, and Jake is upset. But then, as Jake's eyes adjust to the dark, he sees the forest for what it really is. He sees the beauty of it. When we as humans slow down enough to really take in the natural spaces that we have around us, they are beautiful. They're not just beautiful visually, they're beautiful conceptually, they're beautiful in their balance and their complexity, their sophistication, their engineering. They're just gorgeous. I can't get enough of it, and people that spend any amount of time outdoors can't get enough of it either, as far as I've heard. Something else that draws me to the film is its primitive technology. The natives, the blue aliens, the Na'vi, well, I know technically in their language they're called Na'vi, but it sounds like not-vi. And most of the human characters in the film call them Na'vi anyway, and some of the Na'vi call themselves Na'vi in the movie. So, I know I'm mispronouncing it technically, but I like Na'vi. The Na'vi have primitive technology, so to speak. They haven't progressed really beyond the bow and arrow, but they don't need to. They're happy, they're content, they have all that they need. There's a scene in the movie, two scenes, where the CEO, or the front manager, whatever he is, Selfridge, says that he has tried over and over again to offer the Na'vi lots of things, roads, education, medicine, etc. But they don't want it. He says they like mud because they have enough. They don't understand why they should need all these things that civilization has to offer. We're happy out here. We don't need your shoes. We don't need your planes or your trucks. Like we're happy. We're hunting and we have a thriving society. What do we need you for? And then later on in the movie, the main character, Jake, is trying to figure out a way to negotiate the Na'vi to move out of their ancestral homeland to open it up for industrial exploitation. And as he's recording his video diary, one of the things that he says is that there's nothing that we have that they want. I love that. There's nothing that civilization could offer the Na'vi that would induce them to leave their homeland and their traditional practices, because they're happy, they're healthy there. I love that. That's rewilding in a nutshell, that we shouldn't need civilization. This provides almost everything that we need. Now, I've said before, I'm a rewilding futurist. I think that rewilding is only going to become realistic in the resurrection and the new earth. I think until then that modern medicine, modern technology, etc., even automobiles, and airplanes and guns, these are all kind of necessary evils that we are going to have to learn to live with. But I love that the film shows that this is the ideal, and that this can be enough if people will just do it right. Also, I see Jake as kind of the everyman. He's just like us. We are Jake. The audience is Jake. As he learns about the Na'vi and about the forest, he learns to live here. We are him. He's our lesson. He's our kind of example of how we can stumble into this ourselves. So I don't think that Avatar is perfect. It's not the Bible or anything like that. It's uninspired. It's not perfect. It has its mistakes, its errors, its imbalances. But I think it's a really good primer on rewilding, something to kind of dip people's toes into the concepts. So it's not perfect, but I do recommend it, and it is my favorite.